Hi everybody, and welcome to the second installment of my race weekend recap. Thank you so much for the messages and comments and critiques and nitpicking all the little things I should be fixing up and whatnot. Please keep the messages coming. I'm still trying to work on improving things here and there and just picking this up, wherever I can to make it better for you. This weekend I was out racing in Monterey at Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca, which was awesome. Everybody loves driving this track. Lots of us, been driving it for years before getting into race cars on, Forza and Gran Turismo and all those old racing games and everything. So every time I come back to race on here, it's really cool because I come back, drive the track, and it's just exactly how I remember driving it, from the video games of my childhood. So it's an awesome experience. This race weekend was pretty good. It was perfect weather. Except for, of course, as soon as the sun goes down, it gets freezing cold. But during the daytime, it was just, not a cloud in the sky, super sunny, cool breeze. It was just wonderful being out there to begin with. And the racing was pretty good. We were once again running old tires, but we're going to have new ones for the next race out at Thunderhill Raceway up in Willows, so I'm definitely looking forward to that. This weekend, we were running with the SCCA rather than NASA. So with this, we were running with Group 2, which is a combination of all sorts of open-wheel cars. I think Formula E is in there, Formula B, like the F1000 cars, old Formula Atlantic cars. There's a huge mix and variety of speeds that we see out on the track. Unfortunately for us, in the Formula Mazdas, out of this giant group of mixed-up whatever projects and everything, we tend to be more on the tail end of this giant group. So we're kind of the guys having to watch out for our mirrors for guys in other classes trying to pass us while we're trying to keep a race going on our own. And we ran a different format than usual as well. This time we ran a qualifying session on one day to determine our starting position for the race. And this was running a triple race format. So running with 3 races, we were only given 1 qualifying session at the very beginning. So our fast time for race 1 would determine our starting position for race 2, and then our race 2 fast time would determine our starting position for race 3. So performance and just putting down fast laps during the races on top of trying to gain positions during those points, there's a lot of pressure on just, all sorts of things that we're trying to take care of in a single race. So we've got some footage coming up here, so hope you enjoy. Everybody, Cameron here again. We're at beautiful Mazda Raceway Laguna Seca in Monterey. The weather here has been awesome. It's super sunny and we get the nice ocean breeze and everything. It's near perfect weather to be racing. We had practice this morning and qualifying this afternoon. I just got back from the qualifying session just a couple minutes ago. Practice was pretty mediocre. We were on ancient tires and the car wanted to just slip and slide everywhere all around the track, and somebody in, I don't know what class car it was, but one of the other classes dumped oil just all over the place in front of me, soaked my helmet visor, covered the car in it, and I've got all these oil streaks just everywhere. So it wasn't the best practice, but we threw on the better used tires for qualifying. I believe last time I mentioned that we were using tires that I used from the Infineon race at the IndyCar event last year. So they were used at IndyCar weekend at Sonoma. They were used for the opening race this year, and we're going to be using them again this weekend. So that's 3 full weekends on these tires. So I'm going to cross my fingers that they at least just hold together, and that'll have to do for this weekend. We've got new tires ready to go, but we're going to save those for Thunderhill Raceway since that's my stronger track. Qualifying went alright. I got, I think I placed in 6th out of 12, so smack dab in the middle. Not too bad since this weekend we're joined up with SCCA in their Group 2, so we're joined up with the Formula Atlantics and Formula Bs and Formula 1000 cars, and just DSRs, CSRs, a mess of other classes. So there's going to be a huge mix and variety of cars, handling capabilities, and power. So, in my opinion, where we qualify here doesn't say much at all about what the outcome of the race is going to be. The biggest thing is just going to be playing it safe, staying out of trouble, and keeping anybody slower than me behind me, because it can be tough to pass when we're mixed up with so many other cars. So the race is tomorrow at about 11:10, and we'll see how it goes. Alright, so this is the start of race 1. I'm starting in 6th place, not too bad. Like I said, it is just right in the middle here. So up directly ahead of me is Stu Tabak, and to the left of him in the red car is Jeff Tucker. Both these guys are pretty quick. We've been running close to each other all weekend. So green flag came up and we're approaching turn 2 here. I got a decent start, holding my ground, but then as we approach turn 2, I somehow managed to brake way later than a couple of the cars. Managed to gain a couple spots, one of them just temporary here. Couldn't quite hold the outside line around this turn. Now we're approaching turn 3. Riding out through 2nd gear, unfortunately losing another position, just trying to get some confidence in my car and trying to get some heat in the tires before I push anything too hard, and unfortunately Kevin was able to take advantage of that there. So now we're approaching turn 5. This one's a pretty high compression corner because you can see as soon as we enter it, we start going uphill. You can almost always take it faster than you expect to be able to. And so now we're climbing the hill. Approaching turn 6, it kind of sinks into a bowl here, another one where you just kind of breathe off the throttle and get hard back on the gas once you hit the apex there. The road really just sucks you right to the ground at that point. And now we're approaching the famous corkscrew. As you can see, we enter blind, and when we turn left here, we use those trees that peek over the edge to reference our turning point and to line us up properly for the corner. So we're coming back down the hill. Grip is a little bit on the edge there. And then another kind of bowl-shaped turn, another one that you can take a lot faster than you expect to. And so now as we enter this final turn here, there's a Pro Formula Mazda who's passing me on the inside. Car is in a faster class, so not much I can do about it. But what stinks is you'll see Todd McAllister is sneaking up behind him as well. Now I'm supposed to be racing in the same class as this guy, but he's using the Pro Mazda's draft to get by me. Not much I can do about that. I'm just a sitting duck and just watching what happens. Now for the rest of the race, it was lots of dicing back and forth, but I actually just held my own position for the remainder of this race. So here's a lesson on why you always show up early to grid. I don't know exactly what happened. They might have started early, or I actually was just showing up really late, or it was a combination of the two. But either way, I showed up late to grid, and it was at the 2-minute mark, I believe, which apparently is too late to get my originally intended starting position. So rather than starting in 6th like I was supposed to, I had to start this race from 12th at the back of our pack. Not a lot of fun, but you can see here I'm pretty determined to get those spots back. Just past John Weed there, under braking for turn 2, and I've got John Ertel directly in front of me. It's hard to try and calculate how you're supposed to approach the start of the race. You of course want everything to be clean, but at the same time, this is the time when everybody is bunched together, so the positions that you gain get you further to the front with greater effect than if you did it later in the race. As we approach turn 5 here, another pass under braking. Just trying to keep the car on the road as I climb this hill here. And you can see as we come out of turn 6, somebody had a little mishap coming off the corner and took a little trip through the dirt. So now I've got Richie Hollingsworth in front of me. Catching him not too bad. The corkscrew, for some reason, I just could not get totally right throughout this whole weekend, but most of the rest of the track was treating me pretty well. Most of these corners, the higher speed ones, was where my car was holding together better, and as you can see, had a good entry coming off of 10 there, with a good preparation to enter 11, and another pass under the braking zone right there. So a little bit later on in the race, right now, I am following Kevin Rogers and Bruce Carpenter right in front of him, and someone just managed a really good run out of turn 6. able to get one car accelerating out of it. Started to think about passing another, entering the corkscrew, but I think that was one of those moments where it's best to tell myself to just stay patient and wait for a better opportunity to come. Which did happen a lap or two later. This guy was kind of tough to pass, but catch a little mistake coming off of that corner. Get a little bit of a squeeze here, so I decided I'll just hold off and try and get it accelerating out of turn 11. So running side by side down the straight, but with a run this well, this early in the straightaway, I'm able to get the corner by the time we get there. And then lastly, this is Jeff Tucker here, and this is that 6th position where I was supposed to be starting from, so I want this one really bad. And so I am gaining some momentum on him, getting in the draft, looking for a way through. Running a little bit out of room, decided to use the pit lane there to complete the pass, but still managed it safely. And then it was only a couple laps after this, though, that we finished, so I worked all that time, all that way up, to get my originally intended starting position. So this is the 3rd and final race of the weekend here at Laguna Seca. This time I actually did make it to my starting spot of 6th place. That's where my fast time of the previous race set me to start in for this race. So the green flag just came out. The start was a little bit more even than the last couple ones were, though you can see up there they almost went 3 wide to enter turn 2, but then thought twice about it. Probably a good move. Stu Tayback right in front of me here has a little bit of a wiggle going around this corner. Everybody's tires are still cold. The track for some reason was feeling a little bit slick all weekend, and you can see Jeff Tucker just poked his nose in just for a look for a moment there on the left side. But I was able to hold the position for this first lap. And this is the 2nd lap here. Stu's still in front of me, and I'm not sure what was going on, but the car seemed to be a little bit loose, and you can see he has a spin right here, and looking eye to eye, he makes a good move turning away from me, and I got lucky just turning in away from the direction that his car was moving towards. But towards the end of the race here, there was a little bit of a mishap. Somebody dumped oil or something, and Todd McAllister got stuck in it and ended up going off track and hitting the car that went off, but everybody was okay. But this did bring about yellow flag conditions, which was actually what we were held up by for the majority of the race. We were just under caution laps waiting for things to get cleaned up, and then they did eventually give us a green flag for one final racing lap. And we raced hard, pushed it and everything, but wasn't able to gain any more spots. So for this race I did manage to gain a spot and finish in 5th.